And as many of you know, on these Friday evenings, I try not to just to give a talk on just Buddhist principles removed from real life. It can be very easy to give a talk on karma or reincarnation or Four Noble Truths and stuff like that. You can read all that in your books, but it is much more interesting and more relevant when people ask me to talk about a topic and I explain that topic using these Buddhist principles. So it's not teaching what the Buddhist principles are as much as explaining that how they can be used in our life to create a happier, more meaningful life. And the request this evening was sent during, I think, even before the Range Retreat earlier this year. I haven't got around to it yet. And one of the reasons was it seemed to be a bit specific to only a part of the people who listen to these talks. But on reflection, it applies to everybody. The particular question was, there are many people listening to these talks here or overseas who are either just finished their university entrance examinations, here the year 12s, or just finished university. And those young people are going out into their life and wanting some spiritual assistance in what direction they're going to go in their lives and how to walk on those paths which they choose to have a more fulfilling life with less problems and suffering and more meaning and more happiness, to get a richer life when we get good advice from the very beginning. And even though that many of you are way past the beginning stage of your life, nevertheless, you can always say that just life is always a new beginning every moment when you wake up in the morning, a new day. And there's sometimes that one thinks of old age as something really fixed. But no, this is my 63rd year now, and even though that gets quite old, still that as a 63-year-old, as many of you will probably agree, the body feels like 63, but the mind hardly ever changes. It still has the same qualities of, aspiration, wanting to do things in the world, wanting to create some happiness amongst others and amongst yourself. There's many, many things which I can recognize right in my mind today which define what it's like, which were there when I was very young. So even though explicitly this is about young people, implicitly it's about each one of us. And of course, one of the most important things in life, even at my age and your age and the people of young, is sometimes people just have little confidence. They believe that somehow or other, because of the experiences they've had so far in life, there are some things which they simply can't do, or things which they are not good at. And it's amazing just how many young people, even by the time of finishing year 12, think they are failures in life, or they're not good at something. And that is totally against the Buddhist ideals, to think you are not good about something. And the story which I like to bring up, and I'll explain it afterwards in terms of the law of karma, is that when I was a school teacher for 1 year before I became a monk, and I was always experimenting with things. One of the important parts of Buddhism which I liked and I also try and live by is that Buddhism was never dogmatic, but always open to ask questions, to challenge, to see things in new ways. So it's not really telling you what to believe as much as teaching you how to look at life. It's not the facts as much as the attitudes which we're encouraging here. And one of those attitudes which I wanted to challenge even as a school teacher was that some people are dumb and some people are intelligent. I thought, is this really true? And for my experiment, I was teaching one class in mathematics, and I asked the teachers from the previous year, who was the child who came last year in this class? The child who was no good at maths. Please point him out, because he's going to be the subject of my experiment for one whole school year. They pointed out this boy, hopeless at maths. And I wanted to find out whether that was really true, whether that was some fate, some genetic program, some part of his brain which was deficient, so he just could not do mathematics. And so here was my experiment. And what I did for 3 terms at this high school in Britain was actually to give him extra special attention and, most importantly, encouragement. So you know what happens if you remember your time at school. The teacher would give you an exercise or a lesson, and sometimes he would ask you, do you understand that? And if you didn't understand that, to give you a bit more explanation. And then once they were doing some exercise, you'd walk along the desks, and I'd always stop at this guy's desk and just give him a bit of extra encouragement, an extra bit of explanation. Do you really understand that? And when he did understand it, always say, well done, give him some reward. And I focused on that kid more than any other kid in that whole class. And to this day, I admit it was unfair on everybody else, because he was a guy I was focusing on encouraging, praising, building him up, because I wanted to see whether you could improve his math score. And of course the result was far better than I ever expected. At the end of the year examinations, it was only something like year 9s or something, at the end of the year examination he came number 1 top, from bottom to top. And it proved to me, okay, there was only one kid, but it was very suggestive to me that the ability which you have to do or not to do is not something inherent in you, but very much caught up with your belief and your lack of confidence. I can't do this, or your confidence you can do it. And it was a precursor to what I understood later on in Buddhism and later on in life, the emotional intelligence of confidence. That is what really makes you successful in life. So any of you young people out there, or old people, and if you think that I'm 50, I'm 60, I can't learn a musical instrument. I remember going to give some talks in New Zealand some years ago, in Nelson. And there was a fellow over there, he retired at 60, and he thought, what am I going to do now? And he said, I'm going to learn how to play the cello. And so he decided at the age of 60 to learn how to play the cello, never learned how to play a musical instrument in his life before, and ended up playing in the local symphony orchestra, I think in the South Island or something. He was really good at it. And it surprised him. It's just his confidence. You think, you can't learn how to play a piano play a cello at 60, you're too old for it. He said, no, I'm going to try, and he did it. And there's examples like that which show every time you think, I can't do this, I always add the word yet. I can't yet. But never stop with I can't. There's always yet. In other words, you can if you persist. We're just listening to the conversation in the car coming up here. This month was talking about PhDs. And you say the main reason why people get PhDs, I was listening to the conversation, was, he said, persistence. If you really keep going at it, you can get a PhD. There's another lady here, I forget where she's gone now, but she actually told me what PhD means. I always wonder what PhD means. It means permanent head damage, apparently. But the most important part of that, it doesn't mean permanent head damage, but that's a good way of looking at it. The most important thing was persistence. You can actually do this if you keep on going. And that is a great lesson just for everybody. How Buddhism ties in with this is just the basic law of karma. Too many people always think that karma is fate. You're just fated. This is a hand you're dealt with in life. You just have to cop it and just deal with it, and that's it. You can't really do very much in life. But that is not the law of karma which I understood being a Buddhist monk and reading the sutras and reading the Buddha's words. That's not what the karma means. Karma gives you the your past gives you the ingredients you have to deal with. And I usually give, this is a story from Opening the Door of Your Heart, the simile of the cake. 2 people baking a cake. The first has the very best ingredients. Organically grown whole wheat flour, harvest from a field with no genetically modified crops within 1,000 miles, purely organic. And they've got canola oil, which is supposed to be cholesterol free. They've got honey which is not diabetically a danger, and they've got this incredible, wonderful fruit from your backyard, and this great, great, great sort of kitchen to cook it in. They've got the best ingredients, and the second person's got the worst ingredients. Old white flour. So I remember sometimes, because coming from England, we only had white flour, and because it was damp, sometimes it would go mouldy, and we were so poor we had to pick out the green bits so we could use the white bits which were left. And not genetically enhanced, diabetically enhanced sugar, and cholesterol-enriched butter. A hard fruit, which is really old, should have been thrown out. Not even the birds would eat it. And just an old kitchen to cook it in. And the question was, who bakes the best cake? And of course, the answer is not the person with the worst ingredients. Because there's more to life than the ingredients you have to work with. It's what you put in to that baking. And that is the karma of the present, which I always focus on. The karma of the past gives you the ingredients. It's the karma of the present, what you're doing with these ingredients, which is the most important factor. And I've been telling that story a long time. And I think last year when I was flying back from somewhere to somewhere, reading I was on Singapore Airlines, reading the in-flight magazine or something, they have an article about one of these celebrity chefs who had a competition with the street hawkers of Singapore. And very much, just by simile, who bakes the best cake? Who made the most delicious food? The celebrity chef or these poor people who would work on the streets cooking by the side of the road? And they had, members of the general public were tasting the dishes. They didn't know who cooked the dishes. And it was a very clear result. The street hawkers won. They made the more delicious food than the celebrity chef. Now that's a very brilliant. This is the person with supposed to be all the skills and all the resources. No, the celebrity chef have got good karma from the past, but what are they doing with this? The hawkers, they got poor ingredients, not maybe any skills, haven't gone to cooking schools or whatever, but they put so much energy and care and love into what they're doing. They make the more delicious food. So what that means is the hand you're dealt with, your intelligence, your looks, your skills, whatever, that's the karma of the past. That is not that important. It's important, but not that important as what you do with what you've got. So all you people out there starting a new life after school, okay, yeah, it does help if you get some good grades, but it is not that important. Yeah, you may get a great degree from a good university, but it is not that important. What really is important is how you make use of that, which is one of the reasons why I was very taken with a book many, many years ago called Emotional Intelligence by a guy who was actually a Buddhist, Daniel Goleman, who was actually saying that you cannot predict success by the results you get from university or school. The guys and people who get PhDs, or first class with honors, they don't always remain that successful. And he noticed there was something else which was a predictor of success, this so-called emotional intelligence, the ability to be confident. I can do this. I'm going to do it. The ability to put forth that effort and the energy, the persistence. That is what causes success in life. This is great emotional intelligence, but it's mostly confidence, because there's too many people in this world who have been told by someone else you're not good enough, and you believe it. Who have been told by someone you're not pretty enough, you're not strong enough, you're not sharp enough, and you believe it. That is a problem, believing what these other people keep telling you. And after a while, you realize those are stupid people. Why do I want to believe those? Why don't you believe someone who's wise, like me? And that's why I keep telling people come up and say, oh, I'm hopeless, I just haven't. I say, yes, of course you can. And I really want to try and use the power, which I have, which is, people respect me and they come and listen to me and they trust me, to try and use that To say, well, believe what I say. You're great, you're beautiful, you can do it, go for it, you can achieve it, you can do whatever you want. I proved that with that one kid at school, and I proved that many times since. With other people who've come to me who said, just no way can I do anything. I'm just too scared to go out and ask the person I like to go out with me. I give them the confidence. Go for it. Give it a try. Who knows? And I've often told people, this is the young people, don't be afraid of asking somebody out. Don't be afraid of applying for that job which is impossible. Don't be afraid of just saying, I'm going to do a PhD. Just do it. And it's amazing just how many people succeed once they have that confidence put in them. Somehow or other we live in a very negative world where we're always criticized and very rarely praised. That's one of the reasons why people lose their confidence. Now, I can do that as much as I possibly can. When talking to you every Friday night, I certainly do that with my monks and the nuns which I teach. I always say, you can do whatever you like. Go for it. You can do it. Never really sort of telling them not to. And I also learned that, strangely enough, at the university I went to. You all know that I went to a big university, even though I came from a very poor home, in Cambridge. And the one thing I take back from that university, if ever you had a suggestion, I'm going to try this, let's do that, they would never say, no, that's a stupid idea. They'd always say, yeah, give it a try, see what happens. That word I keep on saying, see what happens, give it a try. I learned that at university. So you get all these students and research students doing stupid experiments. 100 of them were absolutely crazy and they wouldn't work, but one would be the breakthrough, which would give them a Nobel Prize. That's why that became a great university. It was positive. It was encouraging. It gave people confidence. Yeah, give it a try. Who knows what might happen? But there was never that negativity. No, it won't work. No, you can't do that. Who do you think you are, getting a Nobel Prize? No way. Now that is a problem why people don't become successful, why they don't reach their potential. There's too much negativity. Which is why if you can't get that positive influence anywhere else, just listen to these talks. There's over 1,000 of them on YouTube and get yourself totally brainwashed. If you can't brainwash yourself, try and associate with someone else who can brainwash you. If you can't do that, at least talk to yourself. You say, I can do this. Why not? And you'll find that, yeah, you can achieve a huge amount. You can far exceed your potential. But that negativity in the mind, now that is the problem with many young people who think they can't do this. They get hurt once and they think, okay, I'm hopeless. And you see this with young people trying to find relationships in life. And they get into trouble because it doesn't go well and they get badly hurt. Well, the last thing you should do is give up. This is why if you do fail, number one, we call it forward failing. Just add that little bit of word, a positive spin on failing. Forward failing, which means, yeah, you didn't succeed this time, but you've learned from it. So go ahead and try again. See what happens next time. Forward failing gives you confidence not to give up, but to try again. And what it also means, yeah, if you do mess up and it doesn't go right, you use that wonderful saying which I've often given here of, the pile of dog shit you step in. I'm not going to do it very quickly here because I usually do this every 2 or 3 weeks, is when you make a mistake, when things don't go right, you try a relationship, it doesn't work. Or you apply for a job and it doesn't work, you get rejected. And when things go wrong in life, you get your year 12 exam results and you've really done badly. So what do? We call that treading in the dog shit of life. And when you tread in the dog shit of life, as a Buddhist, you should never scrape it off your shoes. You must always take it home with you. Now that's the most important thing. You only scrape it off when you get home and you scrape it off in your garden. under the mango tree. Because when you scrape it off under the mango tree, 1 year later your mangoes will be sweeter and juicier than ever before. And you must always remember the most important part of this story, I keep on repeating, the most important part of the story is when you eat that juicy mango, and I always, because I like mangoes, you know those really juicy ones and the juice starts dripping down your cheeks? You must remember what you're really eating. You're eating dog shit, but it's been transformed into the most juicy of mangoes. So any problems you have in life, any so-called failures, that's where the mangoes come from. That's where the juice, the sweetness of life comes from. So you never look upon this as failures and give up. Think, wow, how wonderful that is. I've got more fertilizer for my life. That actually gives you confidence to keep on going and never give up. And you find that actually the failure is actually what really gives you that extra ability to keep on going and do it better next time. As I often said to young people, you don't know how to love someone until your heart has been broken a few times. You don't know what love is until you've loved and lost. You try again. Then you understand what this love is all about. Otherwise, you haven't got the experience. You haven't got the tenderness to really be able to experience, that relationship with another person. This is why and all of you who've been married for a long time now, this. There's a lot of dog shit in that marriage, but those of you who succeeded, you've dug it in and you made it work. Brilliant. Well, that's actually what makes it work. And the same with whatever. I don't know how many people, when you're young, you've got a job, you tried a career, and it's difficult. But every time there's a little failure, don't ever take it personally. Please objectify it. Put it out there. Don't think I'm hopeless. Because the problem is when we don't have emotional intelligence, we take it so personally, we take it as a personal failure which is there forever. Fated, I'm hopeless, I cannot do. We misunderstand the law of karma. We think it restricts us rather than gives us the fertilizer to make something amazing later on. It doesn't matter if you're a hawker, you can still make more delicious food than a celebrity chef. That is the amazing thing of Buddhism. Every door is open. And when you understand that, you do have that emotional intelligence called confidence. I've talked to many, many big executives. One of the executives who I know very well, went to his house for tea. He's the highest paid executive in Singapore, the highest paid CEO. So, he's way up there. And he, like everybody else, says if you're interviewing anybody for a job, basically, you look at your sort of CV, what you did at your school and university, but that counts for very little. What really counts is your confidence and your ability to learn. Yeah, I don't know this yet, but I will learn it. I can learn it. That ability to do. Yeah, I may not have had the karmic wherewithal to get the degree, but I can do this. I will learn. I will make it happen. That is what even business people notice as emotional intelligence, the key to success in life. So it's not restricted. And please don't believe what other people say about you. Because I've seen so many people, they get criticized once, twice, and 3 times, and they believe it, and it goes inside of them, and that restricts them. It cripples their heart, just like a person who can't walk. Their heart just can't dream, it can't fly, it can't aspire, because they think, not me, I can't do this. That's one of the worst things in our life. This is one of the reasons why, that some of our schools, we assess people, we grade people, and people seem to believe those grades, and they think that they're second-class citizens because they don't go to university. Please remember all the other people who didn't go to university. People like Steve Jobs, Albert Einstein left university. Who else? Dell of Dell Computing. He left university, never finished. So all those great people who never finished. All those great people who even never finished school. Ajahn Chah, my teacher, only 4 years of school. With great spiritual masters. So many great people, who sort of never actually went the usual path. That could be you. And the other thing is just, when you're, they always say that you're going for your passions. Sometimes when you are looking for a path in life, don't just use your intellect and don't think, what's really good, what will make the most money, is that really what young people are really aspiring for? Look, the great thing about sort of when you're choosing, you have the ability to choose a different path. You don't have to follow the old ways or what other people are doing in life. Just making money, getting a big house, getting married, 2 kids, a nice car, blah, blah. Can't you do things a bit different? Don't be a sheep and follow what other people are doing. I remember this, one of our monks here years ago. He grew up in Mundijong, like a local boy, and his father was a farmer. And I never forget, he told me this time that he went out into one paddock where there was sheep grazing, and there was a bush in the middle of the paddock. He don't know how this happened, but there was a circle of sheep around that bush, all following each other. I don't know how it started, but these sheep had been following each other for hours. They couldn't actually see the other side because there was a bush in the middle, going round and round and round, following each other ad infinitum. They'd still be here today. Well, they would be dead, but he had to pull one out of the line to stop them all going around. Human beings should be smarter than sheep. So just go and see where your passions lead you in life, where your inspiration takes you. Follow that inspiration inside of you. Don't ever follow just what other people are doing. And please, I get into trouble because of this, don't follow what your parents say. And I have very good authority on that. The fellow whose statue was represented by the statue behind me, the Buddha, he did not do what his parents wanted. He left home and ran away and became a monk and became a Buddha. So all you kids over there, please, and your parents, please just encourage them to do the impossible, to go to places where you don't really know what's going to happen to them, but give them that freedom, give them that support, just to follow their inspiration, to follow their heart wherever that takes them. And you'll find they'll be incredibly successful. Of course they'll get hurt, but that's again more shit for the mango tree. This is where they grow. And they can do things which surprise you and are amazing. Again, my mother never wanted me to become a monk. But if I'd have followed my mother, where would I be? Where would you be on a Friday night? So I had a dream. My dream, just sometimes people ask me this, why did I ever become a monk? Again, when I was that age, looking for your future, you had all these options open for me. What would I want to do in life? When I was at university, and I remember very clearly just trying to figure it out logically, but also following my heart. What do I really want to do in life? And I put it down to 2 things I wanted to achieve in life. Just keep it simple. My wish list was, I had to, just my character, I had to do service to other people. I had to give meaning to others. My life had to create greater happiness for other people. And of course the second one, which was close behind, I had to have my own personal fulfillment, so I felt happy. I couldn't just burn myself out looking after other people without feeling good inside myself. I had to have those 2 goals in life. Create happiness for others and create happiness inside myself. That was a simple goal. And I chose being a Buddhist monk when I started seeing Buddhist monks and seeing just what they could do. And just their level of happiness was just off the scales. And to see that they could give that happiness to others, just by simply a little bit of compassion, a little bit of kindness, this beautiful non-judgmentalism, to other people. Look, this is a little bit of non-judgmentalism, because last Tuesday, I was in here doing a funeral service for yet another person who committed suicide. Now, why did you say "oh" there? You can see how we always judge people who committed suicide. Say, "Oh, what a terrible way to die." But I told them the story. I don't know if they're here this evening, or probably are. Sri Lankan boy who died, was it 2 years ago or 3 years ago? I think it was 2 years ago. Just again in October, month before the year 12 exams, he was about to sit. He hung himself. His parents found him in the morning at the end of a rope, dead. Now, they were very devastated. And one of the things which I told them was, your son was a month away from doing his year 12 examinations. He was supposed to have been a very smart kid and was going to do well. And I said, how many papers does he have to sit? And he said, well, I think there's 5 exams, maybe 2 papers in each exam. He has to sit 10 exams. And how many questions in each exam? Parents didn't really know, but they said maybe 8. So I said, is that right, teacher? About 8 questions in exam, roughly? Subject, yeah, but average? Is that about right? So maybe 80 questions. Well, so just for the sake of argument. So he has to 80 questions to do to get into university or to fail. So 80 questions. What would happen if in the year 12 exam your child did 79 questions absolutely perfectly correct, and the very last question they really made a mess of? What would happen? Would that mean they can't go to university? Of course not. 79 out of 80, perfectly correct. You probably go and do medicine or law or something even better, like Buddhist studies at UW. But certainly, you get a university, whatever you want to do, 79 out of 80. And so that's just like your son. A beautiful life, done wonderful, wonderful things, but he messed up his last exam question. That doesn't mean you can't get a good rebirth. Or why is it people judge just on one last mistake, and they totally forget all the other beautiful things that person did in their life? So when I said a suicide, you go, oh, why are you judging the person on just the way they ended their life, their last question, and totally ignored all the other wonderful answers they gave in their life? When you see that, you can see what emotional intelligence is. We are so judgmental. One person may make a little mistake. One relationship doesn't work. One mistake, you have in your work career. And why is it we judge and we say, oh, that's terrible, or I'm hopeless, I can't do this? We don't judge in Buddhism. We have this wonderful way of just saying, well, we don't know. Let's see what happens. Because whenever you judge a person, that's a terrible way to die. Or this is, I'm hopeless. I can't have a relationship. 2, 3 have failed already, so it's not going to work. Yes, it will work. You keep on going. You learn, forward failing. And you never take on stupid people's comments that you're hopeless, you're terrible, you're stupid, you're dumb, you're thick. You never even think of that at all. That says much more about the other person than it ever says about you. That's why instead of ever judging people, I always say, very good. And those of you who've ever been to talk to me and you told me all your problems, and you always see, this is a joke in Bodhinyana Monastery. So whatever you come over to like in a retreat and ask questions about your meditation, you say, I fell fast asleep and started snoring. I say, very good. And they say, I always give the same answer. No matter what a person has done in their meditation, or what they're doing in their monastic life, or what you are doing, that is my favorite word, very good. It's such a favorite word, I've learned it in so many different languages. In fact, I know very good, let's see how many languages I know it. Baho Mahondai in Sinhala, D Mark in Thai, Ho Ho in Cantonese, Bagus in Malaysian. What else is there? Juwayo, that's in Korean. We have a few Korean people staying in the monastery right now. So I like knowing that word in different languages. When it comes to very bad, I just haven't learned that word. There's a reason for that, because I know that confidence, building people up, is what makes them successful, what gives them the emotional boost to succeed in life. So please, if there's any kids out here doing different languages, please use that word, learn that word, as many different languages as you can, very good. And then you'll find you're building up that emotional confidence, which will make you succeed and have a wonderful, enjoyable life. You'll be rich in your life. I don't mean rich with money, I mean rich with experiences, which will make your life very important for you. And maybe you can try what I tried. What sort of career, what sort of life can you have which is going to create great happiness for you and great happiness for others? And you don't have to be, 20 or 21 years of age to sort of start thinking like that. Whatever age you are at. Whether you're about to retire or have retired. How can you use the rest of your years on this planet to increase your own happiness and also the happiness of others? What karma can you do with what you've got? You may be an old man now. You may be just a disabled woman. But what can you do with what you've got to make happiness for yourself and happiness for others? And there's always things you can do, no matter what you've got. Whatever your ingredients, you can always make an incredible cake. So, if you're disabled, learn the cello. And sometimes you see these amazing movies. I don't know if you've seen that documentary. Somebody every now and again shows me this documentary of this guy with no legs and no arms who goes and gives these amazing lectures to inspire people. How he gets on the table and the only way he can get up is amazing, just using a telephone to actually to get up on the table. It's amazing. And this guy is totally disabled, no legs, no arms. But it inspires so many people. It gives so much happiness to others. And obviously you can see just by his attitude how much happiness he's getting back for himself. Even though he's totally disabled and you think should be in an institution. No, he's out there doing stuff for people. So that is what inspires me. And that is what I hope, those people out there who are that young age, just go out there and just inspire yourself and inspire others. And don't put any limits on what you can do. It's those limitations which actually stop. And that's one of the reasons why Cambridge had so many Nobel laureates, because go for it. You can do it. Why not? That's why kids can have great success. When you stop putting boundaries on yourself. Whatever a school has told you not to do, disprove them. Just out of just spite for your school, just that you failed and say, no, I'm going to go to university and study that, and I'm going to get a Nobel laureate in that subject I failed at school. Just go and do it and prove it, and you will find that is absolutely accurate and true. You can do almost anything in this world. This is, for those of you who don't know, next Sunday is the 1st of December, and it's a special day, for those of you who don't know, because on December the 1st, 1983, we completed the purchase of the land on which Bodhinyana Monastery is in. This is our 30th anniversary next Sunday. Now, we're not going to celebrate it by sort of having a big shindig down there. We don't need to do that. I celebrate that just by the memory of just all the hard work which we made actually a monastery in Australia. And a lot of people, they came up afterwards, about 4 or 5 years afterwards, and say, we never thought you'd make it. The odds were totally against you. We had no money. That's one of the reasons why I wrote in the book, all those experiences. The first night, on December the 1st, 1983, I had a door which was my sleeping platform. And the door was not a flat door, it's one of those ornamental doors with ribbings on it. And I had a hole in the center where the knob was. At least they took the knob off for me, that was very good. And that's the only place it took you above the ground. It's just on 4 bricks. Just so, the ants wouldn't crawl over you. They still came up anyway. And this time of the year, you know how strong the winds are? This time of the year? And, we'd work all day, and when it got to about maybe midnight, that's when the winds came, and they blew everything so hard, that was the end of any sleep. So 2 hours a night, maybe 3 if you were lucky. On a hard door with ribs on it. And that's how we started over there, because we couldn't afford anything else. We was that poor. Now you go down to Bodhinyana Monastery, look what's happened there. Achieve the impossible. It was impossible. Now we've got a nuns monastery, we've got this place over here. You know where we started? We started in this little house, so you can go past it. One of these days we'll have to make this heritage, number 4 Magnolia Street. A tiny little house is where we started. When I first came, I looked at the accounts. And our accounts was the house was mortgaged. It was worth $50,000. And we owed 49,000 and something. At least you were above, but that was it. Our equity was only just about $800 or something. And that's where we started off from. Look, so how much, we do the impossible. And I've always loved doing things like that. Just even building our retreat centre. We're going into my reminiscence now. The beautiful retreat centre, I'm supposed to be down there this evening. I'm supposed to be teaching a retreat. But the first, I always say, I'm going to get into trouble for this, doing online, but here we go. The first night on a retreat, no one listens to my talk. They're always just busy settling in, so I just come over here and Ajahn Brahmali give the talk. They're just settling in, okay. But even building that place, that was just like a dream, an impossibility. To raise enough money, that cost $5 million to build that retreat centre? So how can you raise $5 million? Just with great difficulty. And I remember getting the bills sometimes. And these are, when you're building a big place like that, the bills, $500,000. Gee, where are we going to get that from? $600,000. God. But it always just came just in time. Sometimes you call out the builder, can we just wait to pay till next month, please? But it always just came just in time. It's amazing just what you can do if you just have inspiration and make it happen. And of course, I have to mention just the opening ceremony of that place. Because I was just organizing it all. And when you were organizing it all, you asked the builders, when is it going to be finished? Because we have to organize the opening ceremony. And I think in November, I asked them, it's very close to finished. We finish in February, March the latest. So, okay, we have the opening ceremony in April. Well, you sure it'll be finished? Absolutely, absolutely sure. And I remember the lady telling me, she was the project manager, she said, are you doubting my experience and my competence as a project manager? I said, yes. And I was right. The day before we're having the opening, everything arranged. My old friend Jeff Gallup, he was coming up. He was a patron of that place. He came up, had everybody arranged to come up there. And the night before, it wasn't finished. We're going to have a retreat the next day. The floor was only half completed. What are we going to do? So you know what happened, the great story? As always, we just inspire ourselves. All the monks got up and finished off the bamboo floor. And these are monks who haven't done that stuff before. They were just, if they can do it, we can do it. And so they finished, what time was it when they finished? About 3 o'clock in the morning? 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning, just worked all night, finishing it off. And in the morning, it was finished. Yeah. And that's the stuff I like in life. Do the impossible. Make it happen. Don't ever think, it can't work. We're in trouble. It's not going to work. No, never think like that. You just go and do it. Or that other incredible, I'm really getting into my memories now, the 30th anniversary of the Buddhist Society of Western Australia, where we held it in the Supreme Court Gardens. Everything was working together. It was a full moon night in May. That's the holiest night of the year in Buddhism. And it happened to be on a Sunday for a change. The actual full moon was on a Sunday. And we said, let's try and hire Supreme Court Gardens. No, somebody else will have it. And of course, there was a space on that day. It was free. So we hired it. We put all this money into all these amazing tents and gardeners and ambassadors coming and all these big shots coming. And the morning, we'd arranged everything. The morning of the Sunday, it was raining. But not ordinary rain. You checked up, I rang up the weather forecast. This was only the start. A heavy storm was coming to Perth. You know all the storm warnings they have sometimes? This was a big one, heading for Perth. The ceremony was to start at 7 p.m. And according to the Weather Bureau, the storm was estimated to hit at 7 p.m. Now, all you young people, this is what you do. You just do not give up. You just go for your heart. Forget all of rationality, all of what other people are saying to you. Because even the Premier's office, 3 times they called. 3 times they said, are you cancelling? 3 times I said, no way. We're going ahead with this. And the dear old Brian Creek, he died recently. He was an old merchant seaman. And he came up to me, dragged me aside and said, look, I know what I'm talking about. My career was at sea. I know storms because we've got to be very careful. Those storms can do a lot of damage to ships. He said, the barometer is falling. I know this is a bad storm. You have to cancel. No. And then one of my monks came up and said, Ajahn Brahm, we respect you very much. We all respect you, but you're making a fool of yourself. Look, the science says it's going to rain. It's going to puck it down. No, we're going ahead. And of course, you do the impossible. And when it actually came, for those of you who were there, when it came to about 6 o'clock, 6:15, I still remember Cherry's here, her mum came running into a tent where I was arranging the chairs, crying. And she was crying and I thought, oh no, not something else has gone wrong. And she dragged me outside and pointed up into the sky. Not only had it stopped raining, but the clouds had parted. And she pointed at the full moon. An impossibility. And we went ahead with that ceremony for those who were there. And it was a community channel, channel 34, 32, whatever it was called. And they were following me around. And I remember the person saying, this is weird. This is weird. And we did the ceremony. And after we finished, it rained. And Supreme Court Gardens was under 2 inches of water the following morning. The freeway had flooded too. And the river was swollen. We did that. The impossible. And I remember the firm, which I don't mind telling the name, Reese Hire, did all the marquees and stuff. I remember them sending an email to the organizer who passed it on to me. The head of the company said, we don't know who this Ajahn Brahm is, but can you please ask him who's going to win the horse racing today? Which was a nice compliment. I think I got that email somewhere in my room. Now, this is not supernatural stuff. This is an incredible sense of belief that you can do something. The confidence. It is the power of emotional intelligence. And for those guys who are still young, the guys who haven't got cynical because of all the failures of your life, for those people who understand about the dog shit simile, you don't give up. You keep digging it in. You persist. You keep on going. And that means whatever dream you have now the freedom to dream the impossible. If you're leaving university or you're going to university after you get your year 12 exams, you can do that. Karma just gives you the ingredients. But the great thing about the law of karma is how you put those ingredients together, what you do with them. And that gives you 100% full freedom. The bigger dreams mean harder work, but that's all. Doesn't mean they're beyond you. It just means more hard work. But the more inspiring those dreams, the more fun it is to put in that extra effort. It took 30 years of hard work to build Bodhinyana Monastery. As I've been telling people, is it finished yet? Nope. It's never finished. Work is never finished. Your life is never finished. The dreams. There's always another dream. And this time of your life, go for it. At the end of the day, then you rest. What's done is finished. You can take a rest. And after you've rested, you go out and make a better world. Sometimes there's too much negativity. Climate change, political situations, overpopulations. This world is stuffed. No. That type of negativity will really stuff up the world. It's not the climate change. It's not the sort of political situations. It's not the degradation of the planet. It's what we're doing about it. It's amazing what you can do if you have that hope, if you have that confidence, that inspiration. This is a planet we're dealt with. Now what are you doing about it? A challenge to the young people. Thank you for listening. Okay, any questions or comments? Oh, we've got the ones from overseas first of all. Thank you. Here we go. Okay, today from Malaysia and Albany. Number one, if someone has hurt you very badly and still insists on being friends, how do you forgive the person, move on and still be friends with the person? No one can hurt you. You let them hurt you. So remember, don't go blaming other people for any pain or suffering you have in your life. Now that's a tough thing to say sometimes, but I really mean that. Yeah, they gave you a very hard time. I'm not quite sure they let you down. They may even have caused you physical harm or even really bad things like rape or something. But every time we remember that with negativity, it is like carrying the dog shit around in our pockets. Instead, dig it in. We learn from the painful experiences in life so they don't continue to hurt us. The code which I teach here, AFL, acknowledge, forgive, and learn. The acknowledging it is not trying to get rid of it. That's one of the biggest mistakes people have whenever there's a tragedy or trauma in their life. Trying to get rid of it, trying to expel it. When you can't, it's there, it's real. Acknowledge it. Forgiving it means no guilt, no anger. That just makes it worse. And we learn from it, and we grow from it. We bring it in. That's who we are. And I say this again, because I said it just before I came in here. But this is a powerful simile. There's no such thing as a perfect tree in the forest. Every tree is damaged. That's why they are beautiful trees. If you like going for a walk in the forest, why is it beautiful? Because all the trees are crooked and bent and scarred. Those are beautiful trees. All human beings are scarred, damaged somewhere. As I said earlier, that's why you can't understand love if you haven't had a broken heart. You can't understand life if you haven't been hurt. That is part of life. It's not something wrong. So it makes you beautiful. Just like, the storms take off a limb of a tree and it makes it beautiful. That hole is now a place where the animals can reside. So that's actually about hurt. You let it go. You learn from it. You acknowledge it, forgive it, and learn from it. And you grow from it. And then that's actually how you find it's not a bad thing anymore. The hurt has gone. It's just a beautiful growing lesson. It's a forward fading. Yeah, you fall over, but you learn from it. You grow from it. You become a better person from it. So that's how you can do it. And if you can go to the next phase and still be a friend to that person, that's brilliant. That's one of the hardest things to do. That really has shown you have to let go of it. Because sometimes, why is it the old simile of the two bad bricks in the wall? Why is it a friend, we've known a friend for years and years and years, and they do 1, 2 or 3 bad things. They are bad things. They really hurt us. But why is it we forget all the other wonderful times we've had together? The friend has hurt us, yeah, badly. But what about all the other times we have wonderful times together? The two bad bricks in the wall simile is very powerful. It means you don't judge that friend on the hurt. You take into account all the other wonderful times you've had together. The relationship you have with your husband, with your wife. I don't know how many times that I've actually counselled maybe a couple because their husband's had a relationship outside of marriage, or sometimes a wife has. That really hurts. It's adultery. It's incredible lack of trust. Look, I trusted you, I married you. You're my partner. Why did you do that? And that really hurts. What do? Acknowledge it. Forgive it, grow from it, learn from it. And there's incredible good relationships I've seen now with people who have actually forgiven and grown and learned and had this incredible relationship afterwards. They never do that again. It's hurt once, they don't hurt again. But they haven't destroyed that marriage or that relationship because of two bad bricks, no matter how bad they are. It's amazing what you can do. So that's what you can do from Malaysia, but it takes a very strong, wise, emotionally intelligent person. So just do it. You can. And next, from Albany in Western Australia, I often feel overwhelmed by the negativity of people in environments. Sometimes by the end of the day I feel like I've been infected with the low confidence and negativity. Please comment on this. Thank you. Yeah, I understand that because that's our world today, and that's why I really try hard to overcome that. So listen to sort of positive people, surround yourself with positive people, and you be one of those positive people as well from Albany. So other people may be negative, but they probably say that you're negative too. So please never do that. Always, what do they say? That if you tell your wife how wonderful she is, how beautiful she is, it needs 17 seconds, I think. 17 seconds of praise before your wife or your female partner can hear it. You've got to keep on going. This is a psychology research. If you praise your partner, especially women, 17 seconds. You have to keep on going. You're a wonderful woman. You're very beautiful. That's a great dress. It's a wonderful thing you're doing. Keep on going. A few seconds left now. And after 17 seconds, he actually accepts it. But you criticize her, she hears it straight away. And that's the same with guys as well. You're laughing because it's so true. Because we just resist praise. When I was brought up, they said, no, if you receive praise, if someone says, Ajahn Brahm, that's a wonderful talk. And if I say, oh yeah, you're so right, you're so discerning, that was a really good talk. They're not supposed to do that. That's called getting a big head. But I found in life, no, if I receive praise, you don't get big head, you get a big heart. So please, one of the reasons why there's negativity in our community is because we don't receive praise when it's given. Someone says, wonderful talk, you say, no, it's nothing, it's okay. Someone says, you look so gorgeous tonight. You say, no, just what do you want? You can see where it comes from. So please, when someone does praise you, accept it. And say, thank you, that's wonderful, yeah. I do deserve that. Which means you receive it. And when it's negativity, and say, that was a stupid talk, that dress doesn't fit you at all. You come to the Buddhist society looking like a slob. You say, oh no, that person must be in a bad mood tonight. Maybe they're sort of, that they need some glasses on because they don't really understand. So don't accept criticism. Accept praise. And if you are someone who accepts praise, you will find there'll be more praise around the world. If you are someone who doesn't react to negativity by getting upset, you'll find there's less negativity in the world. That's the only reason why. Because we discourage the opposite of negativity, praise and appreciation and gratitude. We discourage that by not receiving it. So please, in your relationships, and when you go to work, do a lot of praise. Encourage people. Say what a wonderful thing you're doing. What a wonderful thing it is as people set up this hall. who set up the internet, who do all this incredible work so we can come and sit here. It's wonderful what you're doing. You know what happens next? They work even harder tomorrow doing it. That's how you get people to work, by encouragement. So please, very, very good. Never say, that's terrible, what do you do that for? So this is where our community gets infected with low confidence and negativity. Exactly. You receive all that negativity all the time, and after a while, we believe it. And this is a serious point. Some people believe it so much, they do commit suicide. Just the negativity which people have. So please, can we just, it's you parents with your kids, don't keep telling them off. Your bedroom is a mess. Clean up. Your exam results were not good enough. Just find anything, any excuse to praise your kids. And then, so your bedroom is really interesting. Whatever. Because when you praise the kids, you're building up their confidence and esteem and stuff like that. And unfortunately, kids have this very, very low self-esteem. And so do most people as well. Why? Because when we don't receive praise and we don't give it enough. We give too much criticism. So if you're a parent, or you're a boss, or you're a partner, you've got your husband here, your wife here, your partner here, just be a bit mindful. How many times do you praise them in a day? And how many times do you criticize them? Even keep a little mental record, or a notebook or something. Or, on your have an app on your iPhone. The praise and blame app. You praise them one. Because if you do that, you'll be surprised just how often we put each other down. You understand why relationships don't work out. Who wants to be around a person who's always putting you down, never appreciating how much you work and how much you really give to the relationship? They don't appreciate it at all. They actually do, but they don't say it. You make a mistake, and they keep on at you. Not just once, but many times over the same mistake. Now you understand why relationships fail. Why sometimes people's relationship with themselves fail and they commit suicide. They think they're hopeless because they believe all the negativity. It gets into them. And some people are very susceptible. Most people, they can take it, but some people just can't. So please be careful. A lot of praise in offices, in Buddhist societies, anywhere where you are. If someone has helped you, please praise them. And if you are that person who's being praised, please receive it. Receive it fully. Go against this terrible Western thing. You're not allowed to receive praise. It gives you a big heart, never a big head. It encourages you to do even better next time. So we're trying to change things in Albany. It takes a while, but I need your help. In Albany, please, you start praising other people. When they praise you, receive it. Any questions or comments about that? From here? Was that a good talk? Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Very good. I deserve that. Thank you very much. Let's pay respects to Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha.